Welcome to episode 4 of the second season of our series on the surnames of Appalachia and the American South. For those of you who are searching for earlier videos and other surnames, please write to me at vantagepoint22@gmail.com and I'll be happy to send you a catalog that lists each of the names and the episodes in which they were covered. On today's show, we'll investigate Chandler, Cassidy, Kirkendall, Lacefield, Lascelles, Chapman, and Haines. If you're new to the channel, I try to mix in a bit of history and trivia along with the origin and meaning of the surnames to provide context and to show that while we may be patriotic Americans, we share cultural traits with long dead people who never saw the land of the free and the home of the brave. I hope you'll join me. Number 1, Chandler. Admittedly, I've met few people named Chandler in the places that I've lived across the South, but one thing is for certain. There's a region in Talladega County, Alabama called Chandler Springs where Catherine Chandler and her family lived. She was born in 1815 and passed away in 1860 and is interred at Chandler Springs Cemetery. Now, in St. Clair County, up in Alabama's Cumberland Plateau area, sits Chandler Mountain in the Blunt Mountain District. Folks there have been in a legal battle with Alabama Power Company over the construction of a reservoir that would inundate some sacred Native American lands. For the time being, at least, the power company has withdrawn its plans to build the impoundment. Sadly, that can't be said for the hundreds of communities, if not thousands, that were uprooted to build TVA reservoir system back in the 1930s and 1940s. I did a video on the era in American history if you're interested. At any rate, the first person named Chandler arrived in Great Britain with the Normans in 1066. Chandler was hence a Norman French name. It identified a candle maker or a candle dealer. Like other Norman families, they acquired farmlands in various places in Great Britain and quite a few in Ireland. Chandler appears in the Scottish records in the early 1200s, but it doesn't appear among the names of traditional Irish and Welsh families, so I'm confident that Chandler is either an English or Scottish surname with roots found among the conquering Normans. Number 2, Cassidy. When I received this request, I immediately thought of Butch Cassidy and the good old Sundance Kid. But alas, Butch was born Robert Leroy Parker on April 13, 1866 in Utah of all places. I then thought of Keith Partridge and his family of traveling musicians. No doubt someone just wondered why I would mention Keith Partridge when the surname we're considering is Cassidy. That's a good question. Well, David Cassidy starred as Keith Partridge on the TV show The Partridge Family that ran from 1970 to 1974. I reckon you have to be a certain age to get that reference. At any rate, the surname Cassidy is of Irish origin where it often appears as O. Cassidy. The Irish Cassidys were a learned family, or Ollavs, in ancient Ireland and served as physicians to the Maguires in Fermanagh. No doubt England has its share of people named Cassidy, but I'm satisfied that Cassidy originated as an Irish surname. Number 3, Kirkendall or Kuykendall. I can't get it straight. Kirkendall. Okay. It sounds Germanic, doesn't it? Well, it does to me. Sure enough, it's a habitational surname from Holland. It identified a person from a farm in a chicken valley. Now, there aren't many valleys in Holland, so I don't know how that came about. But anyway, aside from Missouri, Texas, and a sizable population of Germanic folk elsewhere, they arrived in the country during the 1800s. One such pioneer was Abner Kirkendall. He and his family crossed the Brazos River in 1821 and settled in a colony that would become Austin, Texas. Kirkendall is one of those rare antebellum names that came straight to America without any bearers settling first in Great Britain. At the end of the day, I think we're safe in calling Kirkendall a Dutch surname. Now, in case you're wondering how a Dutch surname can be Germanic, consider this bit of history. The country that we think of as Germany has only been in existence since 1871 after the Franco-Prussian War. There were other Germanic areas that chose not to join Otto von Bismarck's new country. Holland, northern Switzerland, Liechtenstein, and Austria refused to join the new country. Switzerland continued its neutrality, which was a good thing because the small country has sizable populations and regions that lean towards the French, Italian, or Romansh. Number 4, Lacefield. Lacefield is an alternate form of the English Laswell, which the Dictionary of American Family Names says probably first appeared as the Norman French Lascelles. It was first given to a dweller by a hermit's place. Now, a hermit is a person who lived out pretty much on their own. So this person lived near that individual. Lascelles is found among the traditional surnames of England, but Lacefield isn't. That leads me to believe that Lacefield is an American version of a Norman French name that arrived in the Isles with William the Conqueror back in 1066. Number 5, Chapman. In researching Chapman, I was surprised to find that although it's an English name that was originally given to a person who was a trader in goods, a merchant for example, at one time King Edward VI decreed that, and I quote, "No tinker, peddler, or petite chapman shall wander about town without being licensed by 2 justices of the peace." Well, end of quote. Unfortunately, the ill-fated son of Henry VIII did not live long enough to see if peddlers and chapmans were held in check. He died in 1553 at the tender age of 15. The name Chapman did not stay in England. The name is common in the Scottish Lothians and Perthshire, a place where I used to live. It's also found throughout most of Ireland, so while this name is linguistically English in origin, your line might take you back to the bonny land of Scotland or to the Emerald Isle known as Ireland. Number 6, Haines or Haines. This old English name originated in southern England in Kent and across the island in Somerset. It originally applied to a dweller by hedge enclosure. Now those hedges are commonplace throughout the Isles, so it's not surprising that Hain is found in the Scottish records in Fife and Kinross. It would either point to a name being applied to a bunch of people, or it means the son of Hain. In Ireland, Haines is sometimes used in lieu of Haines. Despite its English origins, I recommend that you check your paper trail to see to which country your line leads. Your roots could be Irish or Scottish. It didn't show up among the traditional names of Wales. Well, folks, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the discussion, got something out of it, and will join me again here on The Vantage Point. In the meantime, may the good Lord bless and keep you. May He make His face shine on you and give you peace. Bye-bye.